Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. This Shabbos, this coming Shabbos is Shabbos Mevorchim Shvat. We're getting closer to Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat is the Histalkus of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and this year is 70 years of the Histalkus of the Frierdiker Rebbe. So I want to share with you the next three programs till Yud Shvat, notes of Rabbi Mindel that the Frierdiker Rebbe told him to put down some of his sayings, some of the sichas, some things that the Frierdiker Rebbe told him. He says, since you're a writer, he translated the memoirs. So anyway, so he told him to put down some sayings. So I'm going to read from inside some things that the Frierdiker Rebbe said. Now, Rabbi Mindel showed this to Rabbi Groner years ago, and Rabbi Groner wanted to take a copy, or he wrote down. So maybe he wrote it somewhere also. I don't know, maybe. But this all comes from Rabbi Mindel, that he wrote down the notes that the Frierdiker Rebbe told him. Also, as you know, that Rabbi Mindel came on the boat with the Frierdiker Rebbe to America. And the 10 years the Frierdiker Rebbe here, he was almost with the Frierdiker Rebbe almost every day. So he wrote, when he came home at night, he wrote down everything, what happened with the Rebbe, with the Frierdiker Rebbe. So he has notes, and so I'm going to read some of the notes that he wrote, that the Frierdiker Rebbe, that he heard, or the Frierdiker Rebbe told him. Now, most of the people today, I mean, they were probably very young when the Frierdiker Rebbe was here. Many people are in Olam HaEmes. I don't think people remember things, but Rabbi Mindel Pashat wrote down, and everything is 100%, because the Rebbe and the Frierdiker Rebbe relied, whatever he wrote is 100% emes. Now, we already mentioned in our previous programs about the Frierdiker Rebbe when he came to America, when he was on the boat from Riga, we already said. But now I'm going to share with you some notes that I found, what the sayings of the Frierdiker Rebbe. So, when he came to America, now these notes are in Hebrew and Yiddish. Rabbi Mindel wrote it in Hebrew, small words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to translate this into English as much as I can. Okay. The Frierdiker Rebbe wrote like this: I very much did not want to come to America to settle, because people scared me that nothing can be done in America. America is a treife medina, a treife country. But by divine providence, Hashem Yisborich brought me here to la'avda u'l'shomra, to work it and to guard it, and to warm up the streets with the light of Torah, and to make America a mokim Torah. As we spoke a few weeks ago, that he's told Rabbi Chadekova, Rabbi Mindel on the boat, that we're coming to America. America is a piece of ice, and we came here to break the ice of America, to make America a mokim Torah. The first 42 hours, he says, coming to America, I asked myself, Rebbeinu Shalom, why did you bring me to this country? The Frierdiker Rebbe said in a sicha, when I decided to come to America, it was not easy a decision. It was not easy for me to come to terms. It was bitter hard to leave the exile from the country of Russia, to leave the Yidden in Russia, and especially to come to a kalter, a cold Gashmizdiker America. The 10 days of the trip from Riga, as I spoke once, the Frierdiker Rebbe took a plane. There was a plane of 17 seats. The Frierdiker Rebbe and his mother, and Rabbi Mindel, Rabbi Chadekov, and Manya, there were 11 people, and then he filled up another few seats, and he went to Sweden, and from Sweden he took a boat to New York. So the trip from Riga to New York was 10 days. It was like a seres yemei tshuva. My achlota, my decision in my way of life, that with God's help I will have to make in my new shlichus. A few days, this is written in Hebrew again, it's hard for me to translate here. A few days before I left Riga, the elder Hasidim told me, we are sure not that you're traveling to America, but God is taking you there, whether you like it or you don't like it. There are elder Hasidim there. I know there are Dubin, I think was there, or there's many names. I can't read the names over here. There were names he writes over here, but they're very small. They told me, you always have to remember about the iron chain, what says by Yaakov Avinu. I guess what he means is what Yaakov Avinu, last week we learned, 2 weeks ago, that Yaakov Avinu went to Mitzrayim to see Yosef, his son, and if Yaakov Avinu wouldn't have wanted to go to Mitzrayim, they would have to pull him with iron chains. So I guess that's what he means here maybe. We are sure God is taking you to America on hard work, but we are sure God will give you much atzlocha and you will carry through the hard work with much success, because with you are traveling, whoever has to travel, the Chassidim told the Frierdiker Rebbe, the neshamas souls of your holy parents and grandparents. Another note, this is Bemis, we once mentioned that the Frierdiker Rebbe, he came in 40, he was here, this is the second time he was here. The second time he wasn't well, he was in prison, we know he was tortured there, he was broken, he was sick, he didn't have money, he didn't have where to go even. But as we know, we spoke once that Mr. Stolman is one of the people that arranged that he should be in a hotel, Greyston Hotel. And on the boat, before he came, Rabbi Mendel said, and I think I mentioned it once, that the Frierdiker Rebbe's mother, Shtanisore, cried. And she said to her, she was speaking to herself, and she said, Eibeshter, Eibeshter, Zores hast du nicht, und du gibst allem in Zores. Geld hast du asach, und du gibst keinem nicht. Gib mein Sohn Geld. Kommt zu Amerika. He came to America to break the ice in 1940. And he had nothing. So she said, you have no tzores, but money you have a lot. Give my son some money. And the Frierdiker Rebbe saw then, and the Rebbe said then, in Europe, Eden and Hasidim were not embarrassed to show their face. They wore beards. They showed their tzitzis. But here in America, some Rabbonim are ashamed to show their face, their beard, and their payas. And as we once spoke, he was very much, when he came here in 1940, about having a beard. And he said that the Nazis, Yemach Shmoi, that they didn't mind to take pictures of people that were killed, but they did want to take pictures of people how they cut their beards. This happened later, like in 1945. The Frierdiker Rebbe mentioned that they to take a builder of people that means a beard, because a beard is a tzelem elikim. I remember in 1970, my daughter Nechami was born that day. My uncle, my mother's brother, Fateh Yosef, with his family came from Russia. Those days Russia was not like today. He didn't have a beard. And he had to shave. He didn't want to, but he had to. So he came here. The first thing he wanted to go is to see the Rebbe. So he couldn't go into the Rebbe, but I took him to the hall where the Rebbe came out for Ma'ariv. It was Ma'ariv. Before Ma'ariv, he was standing and he was waiting for the Rebbe to come out to Ma'ariv. All of a sudden, he covered his face like this. He was standing like this with fear. I said, Fatih Yosef, I said, what happened? So he says, how can I show my face to the Rebbe? I don't have a beard. That's how much important a beard is. I mean, and people were Meis Nefesh. So this is one of the things that the Frierdiker Rebbe said coming to America. The problem is here, he said, we're embarrassed with our Yiddishkeit, the Frierdiker Rebbe said. A little Yiddishkeit they give to the barber, a little Yiddishkeit they give to the tailor, and so on. We have to stop being embarrassed. Here in America, the father, the son, the grandson all look the same. He says, Yidden Hasidim, dress like Yidden. Don't be ashamed. Stop trimming your beards. Be tzniizdik. The ladies shouldn't stop carrying the pocketbooks on Shabbos. And he mentioned over here that when the reason we went out of Golus Mitzrayim is because Loishina Shmom, we didn't change the name. That means the name was the same name. The name was Yaakov is Yaakov, not Jacob. Michael is Michael, not Michael. Also, they didn't change their clothes. They wore Jewish clothes, and also they didn't change the language. Mitgeret v'yayid, and this will bring Mashiach. And don't be ashamed to say the truth. Frierdiker Rebbe was like that. American Jews are Gmilis Chasodim and Rachmanim, compassion and kindness. But what's missing is the Baishonim, bashfulness. They are not embarrassed with their amaratzes, with their ignorance. Years ago, the Frierdiker Rebbe says, Jews were embarrassed just listening to a Rav's speeches or to lectures. I mean, instead of learning, they learned. This is not called learning. Speeches are not learning. Learning means you have a chavrusa with a sefer, or you learn bitzibur with many people. But some people are yoitze with learning by hearing lectures or telephone. I guess the same thing also he means here, let's say now Zoom or the lecture. People learn from Zoom. You can be yoitze like that. This is not a learning. The Frierdiker Rebbe said it here. A learning means you open a sefer, we have to learn, and they let the children see the way the parents sit and learn. But the lectures is good, and I think he's going to say it later. Lectures is good when you drive a car, and you cannot learn, so you listen to the lectures. And there are a lot of lectures, Hasidic lectures. They're lecturing, but that's not called learning. You can't be yotze with learning. This is not called learning. It's good, or when you drive or want to relax. But we're not ashamed to say, I heard a Chassidish lecture and this is called learning. What the Frierdiker Rebbe is saying, this is Rabbi Mindel writing here, is the lecture is not learning for a chassid. Maybe for someone who needs to become frum and has fakes, it's okay. But not Eden, Chassidish Eden. In other words, all the lectures that we have is very good. It's good for people chires, people philosophy, they philosophize and they do all these things. That's excellent. It's good for people to be mekarev them, and it's good for people who have to relax or drive a car, a chassid. But a chassid has to push it, sit and learn. They shouldn't be yotze with lectures. Now, I want to finish off over here one more saying that the Frierdiker Rebbe said here. The world's up there is hoo-ha. He called it hoo-ha. It's a commotion. Once the Frierdiker Rebbe said, why is the sun red in the morning in the summer when you go something to the country, you see the sun very red. Why? So he said, when the sun makes day, you can get up from sleep, get up in the morning, and they run here, they run there, this one goes here, this one goes to business, this hoo-ha. So the sun is ashamed on the face. It becomes ashamed. This is why I created day for this hoo-ha, he said. So the Rebbe said here, in America, we live a life of distraction, meaning the person has never time. When the person wakes up in the morning from his sleep, he has no time to daven with a minyan. He davens quickly, and for sure he doesn't have time to learn, and he has no time for anything. Later in the afternoon, he writes Schapiro. He does fast mincha, and then Ma'ariv, and then he is in such a hurry, he has no time to learn something. At night, he suddenly realizes, and he writes, ay, he said, where did the day go? Meaning, the short days. Then he falls into bed, and he sleeps well. Next morning, he realizes, where did the night go? Even if someone lives 70 or 80 or 120 years, it's only long years, but it's not long days. But when there is life of peace, menucha, a life of peace, meaning he gets up from his sleep, he has time to say birchas hashachar, brachas in the morning, peacefully, and if he has a shir to say tehillim before davening, so he says, then he davens with a minyan, and he says tehillim after davening, and he learns something. Later he davens mincha with a minyan, learns mishnayis, learns the inyankiv between mincha and ma'ariv. Then he davens ma'ariv, even if he cannot learn, but at least he sits and he listens to a shir the way the rav of the shul or somebody who learns. Then he goes to sleep. Before sleeping, he learns Krishma Shal Hamito, the way a Jew is supposed to be. And this is called, his day is a long day. And this is a Yomim Aruchim, long days. And this means, Ma'arichin lo yomav v'shneisov, God lengthens his days and years. One must treasure time. One can regain most things in life, except time. Once time is lost, you can never get it back. This is some sayings that Rabbi Mendel wrote down for the Frierdiker Rebbe. In Mitzvah Hashem, next Thursday night will be the second program about what Rabbi Mendel wrote down from the Frierdiker Rebbe's saying. Thank you.